The woman continued. According to authorities, the householder life is pleasing not only to oneself, but to all the forefathers, demigods, great sages, saintly persons, and everyone else. Householder life is thus beneficial. So, as I usually ask, maybe try to think of something that stands out for you in the purport. Later we'll ask if anybody wants to share. Purport. According to the Vedic system, when one is born in this material world, he has many obligations. He has obligations to demigods, the demigods of the sun and moon, King Indra, Varuna, etc., because they're supplying the necessities of life. We receive heat, light, water, and all other natural amenities through the mercy of the demigods. We are also indebted to our forefathers, who have given us these bodies, paternal property, friendship, and love. Similarly, we are indebted to the general public for politics and sociality. And we are also indebted to lower animals such as horses, cows, dogs. In this way, as soon as one is born in this material world, the human being has so many obligations, he's bound to repay all these obligations. If he does not repay them, he is further entangled in the process of birth and death. The Grihamedi, however, who is overly addicted to material things, does not know that if he simply takes shelter below the feet of God, he is immediately freed from all obligations to others. Unfortunately, Grihamedi does not have any interest in this. Glan Maharaj says, Madhur na Krishna Parata Patova Mito Vitadyata Vitaprasana. Bhagavatam 7:5-30. A Grihavrata is the same as a Grihamedi. One who takes sex life to be supreme finds action in Krishna consciousness confusing, either due to his own personal consideration or due to his having taken instructions from others or conferring with others. He becomes addicted to special indulgence and cannot act in Om Jnana Timidam Dasya Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Gaura. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama. The woman continued, according to authority, the household life is pleasing not only to oneself, but to all the forefathers, demigods, great sages, saintly persons, and everyone else. A household life is thus beneficial. So, anybody want to share anything that stood out from the verse or purport? Done? Yes? When I read that, I thought that we're indebted to the dogs and cats because they're giving us love, basically. Well, not me personally, but all the people that have dogs and pets. Yeah, I mean, I did dogs. They gave me love. So that's how I understood it. And if anybody else has any insight, yes. Yes. Dogs to pets. Yeah, true. Yeah, cats get rid of mice. Yeah. Okay. The service that they do. Cool. Anybody else want to share anything that stood out for them? Yeah. Yeah. Talking about. Yep. Yeah. I'll give my take on that. Okay. So just to give a bit of a context of what's happening now, a few years ago, a bit before that, I just started teaching at the Hare Krishna school, and I read to the children this really cool series called Bhagavatam Tales, and it's like 2 pages a day, and it's basically going through the Bhagavad. And um, we were reading about Narada Muni and how he was Varhana, I think it's his name, I'm not sure, when he was a demigod, was one of the past lives that we heard, the first one that we hear about, and he was being very frivolous, and he was surrounded by women, and they were in this gathering that was for glorifying Krishna, and he was just singing other stuff, and so then he was cursed for blessing in disguise to be this young boy. We all know the story. He got the mercy of the Bhakti Vedanta that came to the place where him and his mom were living. He served them for the Chaturmasya, the 4 months, the rainy season, and by that mercy, then he actually realization of Krishna. He heard Krishna's voice. Krishna said to him, you know, I'm pleased with you. This is the last time you'll see me in this life. But I just wanted to give you an incentive, I guess. Like we get when we start our Krishna consciousness, a lot of mercy Krishna gives us, and a lot of nectar experiences. But now try to work on yourself. You try to purify your heart, and then in your next life, you'll attain me. And then in his next life, he became Narada Muni. And I was reflecting on how we usually, in the world, when we suffer and we get through it, we want to help those that are going through a similar situation that we were in. Like you think of all the different foundations, like cancer foundations, are usually started by people who had someone that went through it or they themselves went through it because they can empathize. And so I was thinking how for myself, when I see any traveler in New Zealand, I straight go to them and invite them to the loft because that was me, and that's how I heard about Krishna. And so I thought that was interesting. And so Narada Muni is going around eternally all over the place, finding those people that are not Krishna conscious and trying to help. So in this case, he saw King Prachinabarhisha, and he was engaged in sacrifices, but with like just doing it for material gain. And so he's like, oh, someone that needs Krishna's mercy. And um, so the way he approached him was by telling him a story. And that's also something I've been practicing with my children. Whenever I want them to get a point, I tell them a story about it. They get on the spot, but my daughter has already caught on. She's like, Mom, you're always telling us stories that you're wanting to teach us something. Only 5 and she got it. But yeah. But anyways, the point of it, if you're a good storyteller, maybe I'm not there yet, is that when you're hearing a story, your protective guard, your false ego relaxes, and then you can actually hear. But if someone's like instructing you, it's like hard to hear sometimes, and you're like defensive. So yeah. Anyway, so Narada Muni, the expert, connector of souls to Krishna, is telling this really long story, allegory. And we're at the point now where this king Ranjana in the story meets this beautiful lady, and she's representing intelligence, and he's representing Jiva, living entity. And so she's saying all very interesting things to him. Like, I don't know if you heard, I tried to hear the class yesterday online. Hopefully the sound was cutting out. But I read the verse and it's really funny. Like, I found it funny. I'll just read it out. The woman continued. This is intelligence talking to the Jiva. In the material world, a householder's life brings all kinds of happiness, religion, economic development, sense gratification, and the begetting of children, sons, and grandsons. After that, one may desire liberation as well as material reputation. The householder can appreciate the results of sacrifice, which enable him to gain promotion to superior planetary systems. All this material happiness is practically unknown to the transcendentalists. They cannot even imagine such happiness. So I think it's hilarious because she's like selling material happiness and saying that, oh, poor transcendentalists, they don't even know about it. Of course, if they're transcendentalists, they're facing the real thing. So it's kind of, I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, and so she goes on, selling this Vihasta ashram in this verse for today and saying how it's pleasing to everyone. I'm trying to say, but yeah, for the glories of living. And so I wrote some notes. Oh yeah, I remember one time when I was very new to Krishna consciousness and I had learned about the four regulative principles, and I thought, oh, that's cool. Like I thought it was a good thing, and I shared it with a dear relative, and their reaction was like, "Are you crazy? Like, what's the point in life? Don't do this with me." And I was shocked, and then after that, I realized, oh, maybe I have to be careful who I share things with and stuff. And also maybe we have very different views in life right now. And so that I remember that because basically that's kind of the all in all for a person in this world. It's like it is to enjoy. And the only way they know to enjoy is to matter. And for a person that's aspiring to be a devotee, the goal completely shifts to like, I want to develop love for Krishna. So it's like a completely different goal. And even though we might be doing similar things, the internal workings of the devotee are completely different. We're trying to connect everything. And so I feel like our intelligence, when it is contaminated, when it's like material intelligence, it's basically time giving us ideas for enjoying in this world. And I see it in myself. I saw it yesterday when I got home, and I was like, oh my God, that's my material intelligence giving me an idea of how to enjoy. And so it's like we kind of have to be on guard. And so basically, I was exploring ways of being on guard with this material intelligence. I was listening to a lecture that you gave this week, and I thought it was really interesting how you're saying someone in Kali Yuga is they're known as intelligent depending on how much money they have, they make, and even that I can see that also influences me. And like maybe if someone has a lot of money, I respect them more, and that's crazy, but that's Kali Yuga. So that's Kali Yuga perception that. And why is that? Because the more money you have, the more you can enjoy. So it's back to that goal of enjoyment. And whilst in a real civilization, someone's respected for their knowledge, their spiritual advancement. That's unheard of. I mean, sometimes you do hear people respect Mother Teresa and the Dalai Lama, but would they want to be Mother Teresa and the Dalai Lama? Like actually live that life? I don't know. But there's that respect. Sorry, just a lot of thoughts that might not be so connected, but they're all kind of different perspectives on it. Yes, so coming back to that, where you were saying that when you're born, you got debt. And I was thinking about it in the way that, the Vedas are a gradual, step-by-step progression for the jiva. And so it seems like the Vedas are trying to, inculcate in a jiva that's born that, just don't take things for granted. Things come from somewhere. Respect where they're coming from. Express some gratitude. So that kind of development of gratitude is really important because, we get really proud and complacent and just, the opposite of humble. And humility is so important in the advancement of what the Vedas are trying to bring us. But then Prabhupada, he's so kind and compassionate to us in this age of Kali that he just like straight up goes to the point that we're supposed to take shelter of Lord Krishna, Lord Mukunda, he says, and then everything else is nullified. You don't need to be indebted to all these people because the source of all these people is Krishna. So Prabhupada is so kind that he's giving us the essence. Be grateful for Krishna, surrender to Krishna. That is the gift. That's where the Vedas are going to lead you to eventually. But I'm telling it to you right now, go for it. This is what you're meant to do, and it'll be much faster, and you'll be happy in that way. And so I was thinking about gratitude and how it's also very popular in the world, to be grateful, to write down 3 things you're grateful for each day, which is really amazing. And it does rewire your brain in 1 day to do that. And I've been doing it with my daughter every night. We say what we're grateful to, but we're grateful to Krishna. That's the difference with what's popular in the world. Is like we're just grateful to the nothingness, unless they have some kind of perception of God. It's like, who are we grateful to? Usually you're grateful to someone. And so for us, it's easy. We can be grateful to Krishna, and that way we can be more Krishna conscious as well, because we're remembering Krishna in everything. And so then it's like we're given all these gifts by the demigods and forefathers and all that. But if we recognize we're actually coming from Krishna, then you want to reciprocate. When someone gives you something, you feel indebted, but indebted out of love. It's not like, oh, I'm in debt. It's not like we're bad indebted. It's nice and he's already given everything. We can talk like we're saying, so we can't do anything without Krishna's help. So I was thinking about the string of verses that many devotees might know by learned a long time ago, remember so easily, from the first canto, second chapter. And that is like, it's giving us a way of dealing with our predicament in this material world. So I'll start with the verse 15 and just try to kind of visualize it. I like visualizing things, it makes it more real. With sword in hand, intelligent men, this is spiritual intelligence, of course, cut through the binding knots of reactionary work by remembering the personality. Therefore, who will not pay attention? O twice born, David, by serving those devotees, to be free from all vice. Great service is done by such lists and gain affinity for hearing the messages of Dasi. So we're hearing first to the Krishna, that's how we can second serve the Lord. So 17. Shri Krishna, the personality of Bhakti, is the Paramatma super soul heart, and then benefits their people, cleanses the desire from the heart, who has developed the urge to hear his message, which are themselves virtuous. And when I read that, I was thinking of the, I've been meditating on the Gundicha pastime last week, because I was thinking of maybe doing that as a play students. And because we're also we're going to learn the Shikshastakam, so I feel like they go well for doing that. And I'm thinking we're meant to chant the whole name with love, and then Krishna actually has the name himself. So he does the same thing, saying to me that you're not doing anything. You're just supposed to chant. Krishna's the one that's first scan. And then the next one, by regular attendance, Bhagavad render service to the pure devotee, all those other and loving service unto the success was praised with sentimental call to the sadness. So it's again, remembering Krishna. And finally, as soon as irrevocable loving service is established, the effects of nature's modes of passion, ignorance, lust, desire, and hankering disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes completely happy. I really like that because I feel like as a in my lifestyle right now is mode of passion. It's often, busyness and trying to be more, introspective, conscious, present, Krishna conscious. So I guess the main point that I was meditating on with this verse is that we have so much mercy around us. There's so much mercy, and as soon as we kind of tap into that reality, we see things so differently. So instead of hearing to our material intelligence that's trying to convince us to be self-centered, for example, in myself, maybe my material intelligence starts giving me things to complain about. I was thinking I can just flip that over and see then as an opportunity to be grateful to Krishna. And I was thinking of an example that just came up. I was complaining to myself. My mind was complaining that I woke up at 3 a.m. today and I couldn't go back to sleep. And I was like, how can I flip that? Well, I can be grateful to Krishna that I can still use my brain with very little sleep. So yay, because not I can be able to, put the sentences together. So I'm grateful to Krishna. So I have to some degree. And I guess with everything that you see your mind complaining about, and try to, as a challenge, try to flip that and see what can I be grateful to Krishna for instead of complaining. Let's see what happens with your mood. I can have another example when I make a mistake. Think, okay, Krishna's showing me an opportunity to see what I can improve on. And then the other kind of points that at the bottom of the report, and that's been also mentioned in the previous report, which is it's something that is mentioned a lot, that about who you were saying that, materialist think that sex is like the ultimate goal. So, and 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 I was thinking of it as because also, sorry, this is where I'm at right now, but at the school we're learning the 15th chapter shlokas by heart, all of them, which is also for me because I don't know all of them. And so with the children we did a banyan tree, and then like one group did a top banyan tree, the other one did a bottom one, another one did a bottom one, and we were talking about how the reflection is material, the material reflection of the spiritual world, and um, and one child, they had the material one, the upside down banyan tree, and I think that girl probably saw that the other ones that were doing the top one were like drawing Radha and Krishna because it was a spiritual banyan tree, and so she asked me, "Can I Chaitanya in mine? He's a material." I thought that was so cool. Like, yeah, I guess so because he's here, helping us to go back to Godhead, and so I thought that was funny, and so yeah, so this whole thing about desire is like the reflection of the spiritual divine love. And I've been listening, about how when we're chanting Krishna's name, you're actually connecting with Radha and Krishna, and trying to serve them, and that's pure, the purity. That's the real thing, and it's much more satisfying than anything that the pure world. So so the pure form of that sex desire is the divine love, and when we chant Hare Krishna, and then when we're sharing Krishna consciousness uh, with someone, then uh, that's why we feel such a sweet inner experience, because we're connecting also with the divine love of Radha and Krishna. We're connecting with someone, and that's very endearing to Krishna. So, but also we chant with food and go deeper in our chanting. It's key to beg for mercy, and that's something that was the theme of my pilgrimage with in December. I went to 2 retreats with Satyendra Swami and Virjapadu and Nima. It was basically praying to Yuvraj, greatest devotee, Snavirya, or with Mercury's, we can chant love, and with the right mood. I still have Virjapadu's voice in my head when we would be chanting japa, say, "Try your best." Try your best to really help us focus. And it was such a sweet experience and so powerful. I think it was because we were at you're at so connecting with, I think, our Guru Maharaj, really having that mood as beggars. So I'm also thinking about how this time of the year we just had a Veda Charya and then for Purnima a Veda Charya we were talking to the children in the mood of compassion and Lord Nityananda, we know that like he doesn't see he sees everyone as a devotee. So it's like really imbibe that mood, sharing everyone. And Lord Chaitanya, I've been reading from Madhuryamrita in Madhyalila, chapter 19, where he's about to start his talks with Rupa Goswami. And but the first thing that Rupa Goswami says when he speaks speech is that verse that we all say every day. Almost munificent. They have assumed the golden color of Himanti Radharani, and you're widely distributed on a respectful basis. And then the verse that continues after that, so nice. I feel like I had read it, but know that experience when you read something for the fourth time, it's like it's the first time. But here it goes from Govindamrita, I think. Oh, we offer our respectful faith unto that merciful Supreme Presiding Godhead who has converted all three worlds, which were maddened by ignorance, and saved them from their diseased condition by making them master with the nectar from the treasure house of God. Let us take full shelter with activities on one. So I feel like it's just trading one madness for another. I remember in Malama that he shared with me one time that he had heard someone say that we're trying, like that example of the horse, no control, fencing. But that person had said to me, I want them to run wild to Krishna. I thought of that as well. We're just trying to put all our focus on absorption in serving Krishna, and that's where we're getting our text, and everything else is not that attractive anymore. That's our process. So trying to fall madly in love with it. And that point, I've been reading some poetry by the famous Chaitanya Chittagopi. She wrote a poetry very really fun. His poetry has that kind of potency to really touch your heart, stuff like music. Yeah, just wanted to share a few short poems. This one's called Whispers of the Mind. The mind will tell you a million things, but don't let it. Instead, hold tight to the sweet things of the beloved. Let it shelter the boat of your heart, that adrift in the sea that will convince you that follow nothing can be from when really that's just being. This one's called Floodgates. There's a flood of mercy sweeping through every town and village. While I stand on the sidewalk, young men, old women, even babies, everyone is diving into the crystal clear. Their smiles reflect the rays of the sun off the spots of their faces, sweet, and I am drawn close each new face that I see. In those waters, there's no one. For those who jump in, there's no. They are forever yours, claimed by the tidal waves and love. For lifetimes, as myriads of beings seek fearlessly to be caught in your arms, I longed to join you, but was somehow held back, looking at my own. Oh my Lord, demolish those gates, break down the door, unchain my heart, and free me from my past. On my own, I can do nothing. If I have any hope of being swept away, it will only be through your mercy. How odd it is that in order to get carried away, I should first seek to be able to leave the dungeon. But if it's mercy that I need, then mercy I will get. I know your secret identity. You are the most merciful, most compassionate, the friend of the fallen, and the savior of those like me. I don't deserve your mercy, but that is precisely why you would offer it up. All that I lack becomes my greatest asset. Once my heart is clear, all that I used to hold dear, I can finally fill up all those forgotten spaces with you. When will I have the courage to hide the begs, ever to be seen the same again, forever warped by the sound of your name? Sweep me off my feet, carry me away, wash away my feet, any other fact, claim my life with you. So, same gratitude, so much to be and we need to be great. Yeah, that's the service, the when Martina visited us, we were talking with a friend that it was life changing for many devotees. Just her encouragement with each devotee that she connected with within their own spiritual life, her example of absorption, her compassion for traveling around, and just helping others to engage in their dharma, teaching us how to see Krishna everywhere with her Krishna meditation. Yeah, and helping us come to a level of practice with shiksha. Uh, I think that's a great one. Also, um, I just wanted to read one meditation that I liked because it's been really sunny, although right now I don't see the sun. um, think warmth is often associated with life itself, which can help us remember the source of all life. Madhuryamrita 19:14. Warmth is also associated with a warm embrace, or conversely, a cold. Krishna's warmth is encompassing of all living beings. Whenever we feel the warmth of the sun, our furnaces in us and feel both the life and the love of Krishna. That would be a good meditation for one to warm sun. And finally, I wanted to share a bit about Madhvacharya because it's his discipline today, and I would like to learn more about. Ideas. But most of you probably know something about his life. He's the leader of our sampradaya. He's an incarnation of Bali. He is very special. Initiation goes fine. Puts the well. I like the story. So this is in his biography. Madhva wanted to have a temple of Lord Krishna in his so that the devotees could stand and worship and serve. It so happened that in Dwarka, one of the main places on earth, 5,000 years ago, a deity lay his shield in a large mat for people to play. No one knew the deity was there, but because the lump of clay was exceedingly heavy, some sailors loaded it on the merchant ship as ballast. I don't even know what that means, but huh? Maybe it's a typo. But I guess I think what it means is to have weight on the boat, so it's steady there. On the ship's southward journey, just off the coast of Djibouti, a tempest blew round on its sandbank. On that very day, Madhvacharya absorbed in composing Dvadasha Stotra, which I want to read now, I didn't read it yet, his famous 12-part poem praising Krishna, had gone to the beach to bathe, or as some say, to receive the Lord. And as he was composing those prayers, there was a heavy storm. There was a boat, a merchant, well, it's not, yeah, the merchant who was coming from Dwarka, and he put so much of his life savings into the goods he was taking to south to sell. But the storm was so turbulent that his boat was sinking. He was helpless and was about to. And right at the last moment, he happened to see Madhvacharya sitting in meditation on the seashore. And he cried out because he's a yogi, a saint, maybe he could help. He was taking shelter. The merchant saw the beautiful form of Madhvacharya in such a helpless state, he cried out. Madhvacharya had a saffron chadar on. He took that chadar and just waved it, and the storm disappeared, and the ocean became calm. And then Madhvacharya just turned and waved, and the wind took his boat to the shore, and everything was. So this merchant had full realization that this yogi saved his life, wealth, and everything. And he came down with deep gratitude and bowed down to Madhvacharya and said, I have so much wealth in this boat, I will give you anything you want, whatever. We'll give you the whole boat. Madhvacharya said, I don't want anything. What do I need? Devotees who have Lord Krishna in the heart are Atmaram. There's if you're not satisfied with Krishna in your heart, no matter what you have, you will never be satisfied. But the merchant really wanted to serve Madhvacharya. He said, I have gold, pot, boat, anything, I will give you. Madhvacharya said, you're coming from Dwarka? He said, yes. Do you have any Gopi Chandan? Gopi Chandan is what? In those days, I think this is a transcription by the way it's written. He said, in those days, that clay was easy to get in Dwarka, and sailors, in order to balance their ship, would Gopi Chandan because it didn't cost them. For a devotee, Gopi Chandan is very important. Near Dwarka, there's a place called Gopi Talam, where gopis came and bathed. The dust from the feet of all the gopis became that clay. So from a businessman's perspective, it's worth nothing. Not the chariot, it was worth everything. It is the dust of the feet of Krishna and Radha and the gopis that we put it on our bodies, and it's called tila. We put it on our foreheads, 12 parts of the body, and it's a way of consecrating our body, mind, words, and life to Krishna. So he said, please give me, you have some Gopi Chandan? Yes, I have 2 mounds of Gopi Chandan. Madhvacharya took 2 mounds of Gopi Chandan and started back to Udupi with the large lump of clay, but for a short distance from the beach, the lump broke in 2, revealing the handsome deity of Lord Balakrishna and the deity of Balaram. But now the combined efforts of 30 disciples of Madhva could not move the deity. Only when Madhvacharya himself embraced and lifted the deity as if he were a child did the deity consent to be moved. In great transcendental ecstasy, Madhva carried 4 miles up to. On the way, he completed the remaining 7 parts of the Sutra, setting and he placed Balaram's deity in a temple called Radhabandeshwara near the Malpe beach, and in Udupi, Madhva bathed the Lord Balkrishna in the lake known as Madhva Sarovar and enshrined him in the Sri Krishna Mat. And then he has very high standards of deity worship there. I want to show a picture because the deity, I don't know if you've seen a picture, but it's beautiful. Let's see if I can get it. You can see it's like but you can look it up. His eyes look so nice, really endearing. Got Venkatesh behind. And then even more interesting is the story behind that deity. Okay. So Madhvacharya knew the history of this deity. 5,000 years ago, when Krishna manifested his pastimes in Dwarka, his mother, Devaki, expressed to Krishna in the inner chambers of the palace that I have heard so many beautiful leelas about your charming childhood activities in Vrindavan. Yashoda, as your mother, she was witness. She could be part of those childhood activities. I heard stories where you would just be a naughty little boy and you'd steal butter and you'd completely conquer everyone's hearts. By the time you came back to me, you were a prince. I want to see those pastimes that, as your mother, I never saw you as a child. Have you ever wondered that, how Devaki must have felt that she missed out on Krishna's? So here we go. I've never heard this before. So Krishna fulfilled Devaki's desires. He manifested himself as Balgopal, little Krishna, and he jumped on her lap, drank her milk, and then went and started breaking butter pots, stealing. He was doing all the little childhood pastimes. He was holding a stick and a rope for churning butter. As he was stealing, Devaki was completely mesmerized. She was thinking in her heart, I've never experienced the happiness of this. And then Rukmini, Lord Krishna's queen, was watching, and she never experienced such happiness as seeing Krishna Balila and Vrindavan. So she requested Krishna, I want to worship you in the form of Bhagavad, stealing butter. Please give me a murti that I can worship. Krishna called Vishvakarma to carve that identical form that Rukmini was seeing of Krishna and Vrindavan. It's the butter, and he carved it out of a pure Shalagam Shila. And that form of Krishna, and in one hand he's holding a stick and another a rope, like you see the time. Rukmini Devi, although she was personally serving Dwarka Krishna day and night, the greatest happiness was in worshipping the deity form in the temple of her inner room of Gopal. Years later, when the Yadu dynasty went back to the spiritual realm, Juna, Krishna's dearest friend, brought the deity of Rukmini after Rukmini had left and put it in Rukmini's garden. And over the years, this deity was covered by Gopi Chandan, along with the deity of Balaram, was completely lost. So those sailors, they didn't know it was inside that lump of Gopi Chandan. But it was Lord Krishna's and Balaram's wish to come to Udupi and be worshipped by Madhvacharya, and later be visited by Sri Chaitanya. Chaitanya also went there and had them all chant Hare Krishna. Yeah. So then, and then at the end, I think it said, it doesn't say it here, but I think, oh, yeah. So this is also, the story is also an analogy. So the merchant is like the jiva. The boat is like the human form of life, and the ocean is like the ocean of samsara. And the purpose of human life is to take the jiva across the ocean of samsara to the abode of Krishna. And the storm is like the attraction of the senses for the sense objects. You think that to follow our narta sattva. And if we get too attracted, then we kind of sink in the ocean of samsara and birth after birth. But Madhvacharya, he's like the grace of Krishna, which comes through the spiritual master and the guru, the sadhus, and the shastra, holy scriptures. And so, like the man on the boat, the jiva realizes his helpless condition in this ocean of material existence. He really understands how helpless he we are against all the temptations and the storm of Maya, we cry out and seek shelter. And when we do, by the grace of Krishna, he helps us. And one of the first ways he helps us is teaching us what is the real value. So man's wealth wasn't so important for Madhacharya. He didn't really care for that. But he was valuing Gopi Chandan. So putting the tilak of Gopi Chandan on our bodies is representing Vaishnava lifestyle. So that's something to value. And it represents living the life of a Vaishnava. So the grace of Guru and the grace of Krishna, that they give us this type of life to live as a servant of the servant, to please Krishna, to be an instrument. And he's another place that Madhacharya can identity in the spiritual world. He's one of the gopis, Madhvi. Madhacharya. So basically, recap, just beg for mercy, be grateful, to make complaints with your gratitude. Any comments or realizations or easy questions? Oh, just repeat. Being thankful for everything. That's why people think what's in this world is making it. Bhagavad Gita Krishna is saying that to Arjuna. And even I was reading from CC that Lord Chaitanya, Bodhi, I was going to forget the name, but Oliver something, from the great Bodhi, and they were in this boat. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya saw the water, like the dark water, he was in ecstasy thinking of Krishna, and he fell in, and it was like a whole thing. So it's like that's Lord Chaitanya is giving us that example. Like everything can be an impetus to remember that, and then also that will come up in our japa as well. Or being, yeah, and like Krishna to give us that remembrance of him. Also in the 15th chapter. Would anyone like that? And yeah, yeah. You want me to read the poem again? Um, I'm thinking also for myself because when we take to Krishna consciousness, we're really warned about being sahajas and not being sahajas. Like, and we don't want to show. So sometimes that might even also stop us from just sad. The whole point is to actually feel, not make a show of it. Just it comes, don't stop it. Okay, it's a really nice book. Very you can see also when you hear her kirtan, that it's calling out Krishna. Okay, there's a flood of mercy sweeping through every town while I stand on the sidelines watching Christmas. Young men, old women, even babies, everyone is diving into crystal waters. Their smiles reflect the rays of the sun off the spotless surface, and I am drawn closer with each new face I see. In those waters, there is no more pain, no anxiety, no fear. For those who jump in, there's no pain. They are forever yours, claimed by the tidal wave of love. For lifetimes I've watched the myriads of beings leap fearlessly into the ocean to be caught in your arms. I longed to join you, but I was somehow held back by the floodgates of my own heart. Oh, my Lord, demolish those gates. Break down the door, unchain my heart, and free me from myself. On my own, I can do nothing. If I have any hope of being swept away, it will only be through your mercy. How odd it is, in order to get carried away in your ocean of mercy, I would first need your mercy to be able to leave the dungeon of my own heart. But if it's mercy that I need, then mercy I will get. I know your secret. You're the most merciful, most compassionate, the friend of the fallen, and the savior of those who need. I don't deserve your mercy. That is precisely why you were offered up. All that I lack becomes my greatest asset. Once my heart is clear of all that I need is clear, I can finally fill up all those cosmic spaces with you. When will I have the courage to dive headfirst into the flood of grace, never to be seen the same again, forever warped by the sound of your name? Sweep me off my feet, carry me away, wash away my people, any other desire that does not claim my life with your ocean's mercy. So Prabhupada,